Yo, what's up, guys? It's Trader X again, coming to you from Soweto. So I'm back again, guys. I'm back again. And I'm sure you all have been wondering where the hell I've been for the past couple of months. Well, a few months. Yeah, I guess I have some explaining to do. So before we go ahead and I show you my new strategy, which I use to day trade, because a lot of you guys are just interested in day trading. So that's what I'm here to do actually today. I'm going to share the strategy that I use, and if you find it useful, well, great. But I hope a lot of you guys are going to find this one useful as much as I found it useful. It is one of the most incredible strategies I've ever come across. The reason I say I ever come across is because it was given to me, but we'll get into that. So the reason I've been away, guys, is because of that. I've been testing a strategy that was given to me. Shout out to Julian. Julian is the one that actually gave me the strategy, but we'll get into that. So it was that I was working on a strategy, testing it, back testing it, doing everything, trying to decipher it, follow the rules, everything you can imagine. It took me a little longer than I had expected, but I'm here now, and I'm glad to say that well, I'm not entirely using the same strategy that was given to me. I had to kind of reshape it to fit me, and that's what I'm going to show you right now, right? And another thing is we're all in lockdown. I'd like to think each and every one of us are in lockdown, and we have all this time on our hands, and being a parent or being a father, being a parent is the right way to say it. Being a parent, guys, I've had to play daddy daycare because I've got two little boys that I needed to take care of, rather. And seeing that my wife now works from home due to the lockdown, I've had to do quite a lot of that. So I haven't had a lot of time to myself and a lot of time to really kind of make videos. The only thing that I do now is we go into the office with the wife while the kids are in the background, and I couldn't record, guys. I couldn't record because my house has turned into a daycare. But anyway, that's where I've been. I've been with family, taking care of family, and guys, I hope you two have been staying safe. The virus is nothing to play around with, guys. Please keep your family safe, keep yourself safe. Stay safe, guys. Look after yourself, look after your families. And let's push on. Hopefully we come out of this and, we're successful traders, which I'm hoping after I show you this strategy here, or the system here, you'll be able to make the profits that we all wish to make in the markets. All right, so guys, let's jump into it, guys. So before I go ahead and I show you the strategy itself, right? Let me just jump over to, this is my chart right here, right? I just want to remove most of the things here, but this is my chart. I'm going to show you what I did in the past week, right? Beginning on Monday. But before we go ahead with that, let me just give you a brief background on this. So Julian, like I said, is the one that gave me the strategy. He gave it to me and was like, guy, look at this and see if you can make sense of it. And I quickly did. I quickly took to it. And it worked. It worked perfectly well while I was backtesting it for about 2 weeks. And like I said, it all started to fall apart. The reason it fell apart is not because of the strategy, because the strategy is one of the best that I've ever seen. Not really best, but one of the accurate strategies I've seen in a long while, out of the box, for lack of a better word, right? It's one of those strategies that if somebody gives it to you and you follow it to the T, you will be able to make profits, consistent profits, because that's what happened with me for the 2 weeks that Julian had given me the strategy itself. And like I said, it started to fall apart. Now, the reason it fell apart was because of me, right? I want to trade like a machine. I just don't want to involve any thinking into, my decisions. You know what I mean? I want to see a particular setup happen, and then I want to jump in. And the only thing that I want to wreck my brain on is my risk management. That's the only thing that I won't even be working hard on that, because I've got tools that actually help me calculate everything. So the only thing that I want to spend a little bit of time on is my risk management, my exposure, my take profits, and all of that. I just don't want to be working hard on if the trade is going to work out, trying to guess where the market is going to go, bloody blah, fish paste, all of this. I want to trade like a machine. I want to see something happen, jump in, take my profit, get out, and I'll wait for another setup, and if it happens on the same day, I'll take it, and so it'll go. You know what I mean? It's a repetition of one thing over and over. So I wanted to kind of make the strategy as simple as possible. And I've achieved that. Right? The reason I've actually achieved that is because the strategy that Julian gave me, like I said, guys, it involves fibs, right? It involves fibs, as well as price structure, right? Price structure. And like I said, when I was following the rules for the first 2 weeks, it worked out perfectly and was great. I was making profits in a controlled environment, back testing. So I was making profits there, but I wasn't quite too sure about moving on to, live markets with it until it fell apart, which proved my theory that I'm not best suited to the strategy itself, right? So like I said, I reworked it. Now, when I reworked it, I had to go back, right? Because the strategy itself heavily relies on confluence. It heavily relied on confluence, as well as, confluence on multiple time frames. And I wanted to remove that. I wanted to remove confluence. Right? Like I said, I wanted to make it as simple as I possibly can. And one of the things that stood out for me with that strategy is, yes, the fibs, because they're incredibly accurate, and a lot of times price will respect those levels, the levels that I'm going to be showing you in a minute, right? When I go through all of the trades that I took in the past week. It is Sunday today, the 5th of July 2020, right? So the 29th, from the 29th of June, I'll show you the trades that I actually took using the same strategy that I had kind of modified to fit me. So one of the two things that actually stood out was that the fib, how incredibly accurate the fib is. And the fib is responsible to giving me my entries, right? And then price will simply determine whether 1 or 2 or 3 of my trades are going to be filled. And that's just about it. All I just do is I wait for a particular setup to happen, put on my fibs, slap my fibs on there, and wait for price to retrace back to that, right? And that's just about it. Now, seeing that Fibonacci really relies on pullbacks, it relies on pullbacks, right? Seeing that it relies on pullbacks, one thing that came back to me was price structure. If Fibonacci relies on pullbacks, that means it also heavily relies on price structure, right? Or price action, whatever you want to call it. But it heavily relies on price structure. So, like I said, when I finally stopped trading the system that Julian gave me, I had to go back on all of the material that I had actually studied on price structure or price action, right? So I went back to Price Action Ninja. I looked at, I looked at the fundamentals of the markets themselves, how they move, who moves them, and all of that. I took a complete refresher of everything, right? I went back on every single thing that I had actually studied, and I tried to find something that can work with this here strategy. But I wanted to remove the confluence part of the strategy when Julian gave it to me, right? Because that's where I believe the breakdown happened between myself and me following the rules of the strategy itself. It was just too much. I just didn't want to involve a lot of aspects into the strategy itself, and certainly did not want to include a lot of time frames into it. I just wanted to look at one time frame, make my decisions, and I'm gone. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I went back and everything started to fall into place when I read David H. Weiss's book. You all know how much I like that book. David H. Weiss, I believe the title is Trading Springs and Upthrusts for a Living or something of that sort. But I went back on that, and springs and upthrusts really also is another way of saying, it's not really another way of saying, what was I going to say? Another way of really saying price structure, if you will, some form of it. I mean, it ultimately depends on how you understand springs and upthrusts. But springs and upthrusts also rely on price structure, heavily rely on price structure, as well as supply and demand. Supply and demand, trading fibs, as well as trading springs and upthrusts all have one thing in common, which is price structure. You know what I mean? And as soon as I figured that out and I started to look at price structure, raw price structure, just look at it, apply my fibs as how I see it, it all started to kind of fall into place, right? Like I said, Fibonacci relies heavily on retracements, and that's the core function of this particular strategy. It is a trend trading strategy. So in order for it to be able to work, you have to apply it to a trend. And I mean, that's where we make a lot of money, right? Not when the market is sideways. But anyway, that's besides the point. So it is a trend trading strategy, and it relies heavily on retracements. And I'll show you now what I'm talking about. Or at a later stage, I'll show you, right? So that's what I did. I went back and I meshed up, not really meshed it up. I refreshed myself on price structure, and I started to look, I looked deeper into it once again, refreshed myself really. And yeah, it all started to fall into place when I slapped my Fibonacci retracement tool on my charts. It all just started to kind of fall into place. And I've been trading like that, well, I think it's 2 months now. I've been trading like that for 2 months, and I've made incredible returns on a daily basis. That's the nice part about this particular strategy, on a daily basis. Okay, so let's jump into this chart, guys. I just want to show you, let's see how long it's been. 10 minutes already, 11 minutes. But let me show you what I did in the past week, right? What I did in the past week. Now, let me get an arrow here. How big is that? Can you see all that big arrow under the Tuesday right there? Now, wherever you see this gray box here with these lines here, these purple, are they purple? Well, these pink lines represent my entries. These were all the entries that I took. These were actual trades, guys. You don't have to believe me, but in the coming days, I will record all of the trades that I actually take, and then you'll be able to see what it is that I'm actually talking about here. A lot of you guys are skeptical, and a lot of you guys like talking shit, especially people that think they're right over everybody, especially on YouTube. But a lot of you guys like talking shit about, you know, in hindsight, I can do this. I'll show you definitive proof that this strategy really works, and all of these trades I actually did take. Now, y'all know me, I'm not the type to show you how much I make, because that defeats the whole purpose of this channel. The whole purpose of the channel is for me to share my knowledge with you guys, not to brag about how much I make. I just don't condone that. It's totally besides the point. So if you want to see somebody make a lot of money in the markets, there's a lot of channels on YouTube that can give you that. Go ahead, bruh. Go ahead and go watch those. But for you guys that want to learn something from me, here we go. Right? So Monday, this is how my fib actually look. Let me see if I can find a nice space here. This is how my fibs actually look, right? This is a far cry from you know, the standard settings on your normal fibs, right? So my levels, for now, I'll show you once everything is done. I just want to run through the trades that I took. I'll show you the levels themselves. But where it says 1, 2, and 3, those are my entries. The 100 is just the 100 retracement, and the 0 retracement. Those are standard. They just come like that. The only things, or only levels that I have are just these 3 levels. Anything in between the 0 level and my 1 here, I don't use. I really don't use. So there's no need for me to actually include them, right? And that's also one of the things that I needed to kind of alter on the strategy that Julian had given me, on the system that Julian had given me, more particularly the Fibonacci retracement tool settings that come with you know, the strategy that Julian had actually showed me. I had to remove some levels here because I found them not to apply in terms of what I was actually doing. So my current fib setup actually looks like this. This is the only thing that I use, guys. I don't use any crossovers. I don't rely on multiple time frame confluence and all of that. I just slap my Fibonacci retracement tool after I see something happen, and that's just about it. You know what I mean? All right, so let's get into Monday. So Monday, oh yes, before we go ahead, guys, these vertical lines, I'm sure you can all see at the bottom here, they mark 9 o'clock on each and every single day, right? 9 o'clock is the open time for the Euro session, right? So that's when the Euro session begins. Yeah, so I trade between the Euro session all the way until the end of the US session rather, right? Typically, because of where I'm at right now, when the US session ends, it usually ends around about midnight where I'm at right now, which is convenient for me because at that time I'm off to La La Land, bro. So the Asian session, I don't even bother with the Asian session. There's not much volatility there, so I don't mind that. I could miss some setups, but there are some instances where I'd be up and, you know, the trading gods decide to give me my setup and I'll take it. And that's exactly what happened on Monday, right? So let me show you what had happened here. All right, let me show you the trades that I actually took, starting with this one. Let's put a big arrow on that one, starting with this one. Right now, when the markets opened on Monday, later in the day, I think it was about, let me see, it says here 18:30, later in the day, right, just after the US session opened. I saw price actually decline here, quite a big decline, right? And therefore I took my Fibonacci and I laid it down, but price didn't pull back into, you know, my hot zone, which is right up here, right? Guys, we'll get into the intricacies of the strategy and how it all works. I just want to show you the trades that I actually took to just show you that, you know, the strategy actually really does work. But like I said, you don't have to believe me. I'll show you some live trades as of tomorrow, if I do get any setups as of tomorrow. But anyway, so I put my fib right there, and price did not pull back into where I wanted it to actually go into. So I called it, you know, I actually didn't trade until the US session actually ended. It was only in the Asian session that I got another setup, which I actually took, right? And I'll explain again when we start, when I start to explain how the strategy works. Okay, my auto snap, let's get that off. I'll explain that to you, but let me just explode this real quick. So this was on Monday, right? All right, so there we go. So these were my first 3 trades right here. Right, so my first 3 trades were filled right here. And yeah, 2 of them took profit way before I could get up in the morning. And the next one took profit right about, I think around about an hour or 2 after, you know, market open, or the euro open. And that's when I took my 2 profits. But anyway, I got in right here at this gray box. All 3 of my orders were actually filled, and then price started to fall, right? I took, I think, where did I take my first profit? Let me just give you a quick kind of idea of where I took my profits. Where's my Monday? There we go. Hold on, I need to do this. First profits were down here. Let's make this horizontal line a bit thicker. First profit down here, right? So let's put an X on there at the bottom of this swing here. Second trade got out at the bottom of this swing here. And my last one got out at the bottom of this swing here. Right? And this last swing here played a very, very big, important role. Actually, wasn't that? It was this swing here, the swing before it, this swing here, that played a very, very big role in my next few trades. I think it was after I don't know. I'll show you now what I mean. But I'm not going to remove it just yet, right? So my first 3 trades on Monday, that's where they took, well, my take profits were based on the past swing lows, right? And that's where I took my profits for that. Now, Tuesday was a very, very eventful day for me. I had, I think, a total of 5 trades, if I'm not mistaken, five or 4, if I'm not mistaken. The first 2 was a complete gamble, right? Let's make this a bit fat. This is the fattest. Let's make it a different color. The green arrow, guys, the green arrow. There we go. I hope you can see that color. But the next trade that I took was right here at the green arrow, the green big arrow, right? Same thing happened here. I saw a move to the downside, and all I had to do was just wait for a retrace into my zone. Let's not call it a zone, into my hot zone. And yeah, 2 of my trades were actually filled. Let's blow it up again. 2 of my trades were filled to the downside. I took my profits here. My first profits was down here. Let's make this a little bit thicker. At the pink line, right? My first profits were down here. And my last take profit was actually down here at this blue horizontal line. Remember, I had derived that, I took that from this swing low right down here, right, with the X. Like I said, it played a very, very big kind of role in me taking profits in my next few trades, and I'll show you. That was one of the trades that I took profits from, right here on that very same level, 1.11958. That's where I took my second profit. Right now, this trade I wasn't sure about. Right, the reason I wasn't sure about this trade, and I'll also cover this, was because this is mid-trend. Right, I don't want to be taking trades, or I don't want to be, I don't want my trades to be filled mid-trend. I want my orders to be filled when the trend begins, in order for me to be able to maximize my gains. I wonder if you all understand what I'm trying to say, right? But I'll show you in my next other trade that I actually took, right? So that was my first 3 trades, a few hours after market open on Tuesday, right? Was it Tuesday? Yeah, on Tuesday, right? And on Tuesday, again, right after I took my profit, right? What I did was, like I said, I didn't want to take any more trades, because this here, I could have actually literally just done this with my Fibonacci, and I would have waited for price to come in here and take my orders to the downside. But this move here is a classic example and reason why I do not like to take trades like this mid-trend, right? Because you just don't know when price is about to reverse on you and take you out. Look at this one. I mean, it was just a sharp move up, right? In what, an hour and a half. In an hour and a half, it managed to take out the previous high right here to the left. And that, if I'd laid out my Fibonacci and I put on my pending orders here, it would have taken my stop. Right? All 3 of my trades would have never been successful. And like I said, that's the reason why I do not like jumping in on trades after the trend has begun. I want to take my trades just when the trend begins. You know what I mean? All right, so let me not confuse you guys, but let me just go ahead and still show you all of these trades, and then I'll explain everything once we go through how the intricacies of the system itself, right? So I saw this move go all the way up, right? And I saw a pullback start to happen here, and my other, I think I was only filled once here. One of my trades was actually filled right down here, right? Right down here. Sure you all can see that. Right down there. And I took my profit at this horizontal line right here. You see that? Right there. Now, this is not a coincidence for me to take my profit here. I took my profit here because there was a long-term fib that I'd put there, and I knew that should price come back to it, we're most probably going to have a reaction, right? So this trade that I took down here, I hope I'm not confusing you guys, but this trade that I took down here, I knew I had to get out anywhere here or in this gray box here. The reason for that was because of this huge fib that I took from Monday, and it bottomed out only on Tuesday right down here, right? So I knew that should price come in here, there's a high chance that I'm going to get a few more, maybe 1 or 2 trades. And in this case, I got 2 trades come right out of there and then continue all the way down. And my target would have been right down here, which just so happens to be the same place, remember? The same low as this previous low right down here, right, with that horizontal. So you see, a lot of the trades that I actually took, I took profit at the same level, which is that 1.11958. That's where I took my profits, right? Okay, so Tuesday I had 2 here, I had 1 here, and 2 once I got out here, I got out at this level here, right, of the fib, and one of my orders was filled here. So one of my buy orders here got closed, my take profit, and subsequently I was filled to the downside. I was selling there, and I wasn't quite sure about price coming up here or even to this last band here to fill me, but it just so happened to fill my second order, and down she went, right? So let me remove this fib so I don't confuse anybody, as well as this fib down here. So yeah, I watched price continue on down, but as it does that, I also noticed again this move here happen. So I saw price do this. If you're watching, please take a closer look at my fibs, guys, or should I make them a little bit thicker? I think I should make them a little bit thicker. Let's make those a little bit thicker. There you go. So I saw price do this, and I knew when it does this, because this is the setup that I look for all the time, right? So it did this, and until it did this, and then this retracement started to happen here, right? Started to happen here. So market open again after this vertical line here, after 9 o'clock on Wednesday. When I got up, I saw the retracement. I put my fib on here, and I knew that I'm most probably going to have a reaction happen here. And that's where I got my first 3 orders for Wednesday, right? My first 3 orders for Wednesday, which are right here at that arrow. Now let me remove the fib so you can clearly see what I'm talking about right there. Right here at this green arrow here, I had my first 3 orders, and it tanked. It really just accelerated to the downside, and once again I took my profit right down here, 1.11958. On all 3 I took my profits here, right? And like I said, I'll explain why I took my profits right here. And then on Wednesday, for the better part, I didn't actually trade, but then I saw this move here happen. I saw this move here happen on Wednesday, and this was a really short-term trade. I believe one of my trades broke even here, but I got out on 2 here, right? So that's what happened here. So let me explode this so you can clearly see what I'm talking about. So on Wednesday, you know, the setup, or rather the pattern happened. The pattern that I was looking for happened, and then I ran my fib from up there all the way to down here, and all 3 of my orders were filled, and then price started to tank, right? So it started to accelerate to the downside. It went all the way down, came back up again, and then finally it broke my Fibonacci, right? Once it broke my Fibonacci, I knew that I had to, you know, break either, well, take profit right here, right? So I put my stop right down here. One of my trades took profit right here, and I had to leave 2 of my my other trades running. So I essentially wanted to leave 2 more runners here to see how far it will actually go, because I was hoping for price to do this. Let me just remove this fib here real quickly. I was hoping for price to do this. I'll show you now what I was hoping for price to do. I was hoping for price to come back down here, pull back all the way to this gray box here on Wednesday, right? The starting point being right up here, all right? So I was hoping price would actually continue to go down and then come back in here, and I'd buy all the way to the upside, right? But it wasn't to be so, right? But when price broke down here, when it broke down here, I moved all of my take profit. Well, one of my take profits, or one of my trades took profits at this horizontal pink line here, right? And I left 2 of my other trades as runners, right? One of which was break even, and the other one I put a stop right at the same horizontal line here. So when price broke down here, the next 15 minutes, as you can see with this particular candle here, it pulled back into that level here, right? Into you know, my take profit or my stop right there. And then my second trade was actually triggered, and I got up with the same profit as the first trade. But the next trade, as price went along, finally, right, in the Asian session, I lost a little bit actually. Finally, in the Asian session, it broke even. Once it broke even, I called it a day. Actually, when I woke up the following day, that's when I realized that it broke even. But that was okay. Again, let me remove the fib. Again, after the markets opened, I noticed this move here with the X, right? I noticed this move again with the X, but I didn't take this one. The reason I didn't take this one is because this is in the middle of a trend, right? No matter how short the trend is, this is still a trend, guys. You all need to understand this. This is still an uptrend, right? But anyway, I saw this pullback happen. Sorry about that, guys. This was a potential trade that I could have taken, but I decided to stay out of the trade itself. The reason I stayed out is because I just don't know if, you know, when price gets up there, let's just say it picks up all 2 or all 3 of my trades right here at this at the box right next to the X, right up here, after it had pulled out of that hot zone. I didn't know if price was going to find a high right there and then continue to do that, right? So though that's one of the things that I wanted to get out of, my analysis. Like I said, I want to jump in as soon as a specific pattern happens after price has either bottomed out or it topped out, right? And it's showing me signs that it's about to turn in the other direction or in a different direction. And that's the only time that I am going to be jumping in, right? So I didn't take this trade here with the X, right? And later in the US session, okay, drop that. Later in the US session, my pattern appeared. Actually, this one didn't just appear on the 15-minute chart. I was actually a little bit confused on the 15-minute chart, so I scaled up to the 30-minute chart rather. I scaled up to the 30-minute chart and I saw, the setup happen. I put on my fib, and all I did was wait for price to actually come back, right? Wait for price to come back, and 2 of my trades here were filled. The upper band here was never filled, but 2 of my trades were actually filled right up there. 2 of my trades were actually filled, and I got out round about here. I got out round about there. On both trades, I had to get out right here, right? Now, the reason I had to get out, anyway, I just deleted all of my arrows. Let's put those back. The reason I had to get out there, right, is because of a huge Fibonacci that I've laid out here. I'm sure you can all see that Fibonacci move that happened here, or rather that impulse move to the upside that happened since Wednesday, right? I pulled back into this area here, and that's where I had to take my profit. Let me put my green arrow right there. I took my profit right here at this upper band here. I didn't take profit at this lower one because you can never be too sure if price is going to touch this second band or the third band itself, right, as it goes into the hot zone itself. So I took profit and I called it a day, right? Friday, I saw price bob along this hot zone here, and I jumped in as soon as I saw this move here start to happen, or I saw this pullback start to happen. So it's not just, I don't just leave my pending orders. It actually depends on if it's going to be a long term or if it's a big Fibonacci. If it's a big Fibonacci that spans from one day to the next trading day, then that I could hold that particular trade for about 2 more days. But you want to kind of find a better entry based on a smaller time frame, for instance a 15-minute chart. So you want to see what price is going to do when it gets to that particular hot zone at the 15-minute chart, right? But what I did here was, because I was quite confident that price is actually going to start moving up once it got here, I put in my trades on Friday after market open. I put in my trades right at the levels, right? So this first level here with the X. Okay, let's remove this purple thingy here. It's pink. Right here, the first band here. And then the second one was at this lower level here. I was hoping for price to come down all the way down here to the third band, but it just didn't, right? So right now, as we speak, I've got 2 trades that are still pending. These are the trades that were filled or I opened on Friday, right? And I'm going to hold those particular trades until price gets to up here, because I'm quite confident it's going to come up all the way until up here. If it doesn't, it's not a train smash. Normally what I do is I break even. I wait for price. If I break even, then I know that I was wrong in my analysis or my fib layout was wrong, whatever the case is, but at least I break even rather than lose money. So in this case, if there is no gap to the downside, if no gap to the downside and gaps all of my entries, then I won't be losing any money. Hopefully it gaps up, but once it does gap up, I'm most probably going to put it on, or all of my trades are going to be break-even trades should price decide to come back down, but I don't think it will, right? Don't take my word for it. Let's just wait to see what price is actually going to do. I do not predict where the market is going to go. I just react to what the market actually does. Once I see price do something, I slip on my fib and I wait for price to retrace. Once it retraces, I know that I have to be positioned in such a way for me to be able to take advantage of that. So that's what happened right there. All right. So price, yeah, came into my zone right here, or into my hot zone, picked up all 2 of my orders. I was hoping for 3, but I couldn't get 3. Picked up all 2 of my orders, and now it's on its way up, right? But we'll see what happens when market opens. Like I said, I'm hoping it comes all the way to up here, right, at the green X. If it doesn't, it's not a train smash, because I will be breaking even, right? So that is my new strategy, guys. So this is the new strategy that I've developed thanks to Julian. Yeah, Julian, I owe you one, man. But thanks to Julian, this is the strategy that I actually had to work on, really, because the original one that he actually gave me didn't quite speak to me. Not really quite speak to me. I failed the strategy itself because I just couldn't follow any rules, right? Yeah, and really this is what I came up with. I came up with something that is quite easy to follow. And in the next video, guys, I am going to show you step by step. I'll give you the rules. I'm going to show you step by step why you can have confidence in knowing that price is most probably going to respect that Fibonacci retracement, and you know, positioning yourself to take profits off of it. Like I said, guys, I'm back. I'm going to prepare the next lesson in a few. So I just wanted to put it all out there to you guys, that this is what, to show you that this is what I've been up to all this time. In the meantime, right after this back to back, I'm going to record the full kind of breakdown of the strategy and how it actually works, right? So stay tuned for that. It's going to be uploading in the next few, hopefully in the next few hours, because I just need to kind of write down, you know, kind of plan it for the first time ever. I have to kind of write down the rules, what to look for, bloody blah, fish paste, all of the rules and bloody blah. Yeah, all of that. So yeah, guys, this is what I've been up to. Yeah, stay tuned. I'm recording it back to back, and it should be up. And again, guys, thanks once again for your continued support. And remember, guys, Price Action Ninja link is still in the description if you're still interested in that. But yeah, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been up to. Stay tuned, guys. In the next video, I'm going to go through everything, what I look for, what you need to look for, and how to trade this particular strategy. Other than that, guys, thanks once again for your continued support. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's been good. It's Trader X. I'm out.